Lincoln County Board of Education Working Board meeting to order. Gloria will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our vision statement is Lincoln County Schools equipping students to learn, conquer, succeed. Our mission statement is the mission of Lincoln County Schools is partnership with students, staff, parents, and the community is to equip students with the skills necessary to be lifelong, productive citizens in an ever-changing global society.
Look at the agenda. Do I hear a motion to set the meeting agenda?
I make a motion.
Gloria, second. Philip, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and I vote yes. We'll move to action item 3A, contract with Wilderness Education Project.
Yes, we had a hospital staff member that has been selected to work with the Wilderness Education Project as a facilitator for the grant there and also designing professional development for staff across the state. And so requesting the approval for this agreement with the Wilderness Education Project.
Any questions?
I have one question. There's no dollar amount listed here.
And I think Leanne will have to insert that information, and the individual that is over that is going to allow this person to work in the district for the first couple of months.
Says there's no cost associated with this agreement.
Well, I think what you're talking about is probably salary and stuff, and that hasn't been, like it is, like for the people who already are, so she'll keep that information.
So there's no set amount for, that they're gonna pay up to, and you don't think so? They're gonna pay all of it?
It operates basically like the staff that we have on MOUs with the state that are educational recovery specialists. So we just pay that salary. And,
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the contractual agreement with Wilderness Education Project?
I'll make a motion.
Tyler, second.
I'll second.
Philip, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and I vote yes. 3B, contract for Thinking Maps, Chad.
Asking the board to approve the contract for Thinking Maps, they do our writing training, and we've scheduled 3 days for next week. At a cost of $1,841.67 per day. We actually partnered with Daniel Independent for that training, and this is the third part of a 3-part series, so this is basically the foundation for our writing program.
If you can motivate students to use those, they are very good.
They are very good.
Some of them are, I catch myself using it for organization.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the Thinking Maps training contract? Jan, second.
I'll second.
Tyler, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and I vote yes. 3C, Renaissance Products, Chad.
Yeah, this is the purchase of Renaissance for the high school. It's the diagnostic screener, everything. It's basically iReady for the high school. And I think the quote y'all may have been given was around $98,000.
69.
Okay, that's good because that's the correct amount. And that's going to be paid with Bureau funds. They're going to cover all that.
You're approved it?
Yes. It was pending approval when we put it on there, I think. Yeah, Bureau has approved. the entire
Because
purchase.
it says that here will be paid with your funds if approved by both the board and your up.
Bureau has approved it. since-
Okay.
since then, yeah.
Any other questions? Do Do you hear a motion to approve the purchase of the Renaissance Diagnostic Screener and Intervention Tools?
Right. Go ahead.
Philip,
I'll
second,
second.
Gloria, vote Gloria,
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Jan,
Yes.
Tyler, and I vote yes. Thank you, Chad. Moving to discussion items for A, interest engineering proposal phase two bid package one.
Hello. So this is for site surveying services for the addition to the high school, which is part of the phase two bid package one work. Basically, their services will establish grades so we can set contours for sidewalks, elevation of the building, that sort of thing. We're also going to have them locate utilities in that area. There's a lot of utilities there in the ground. So we've gotten pricing. We simply, the request for proposals to Hendricks Engineering, and they responded, for doing the topographical surveys, $2,700, to add the private utility location, excuse me, is another $1,500 for a total of $4,200. That's certainly within reason for the services and the scope of work requested, and our office will recommend the board accept the proposal. Does anyone have any questions regarding this?
The area outlined in this diagram shows, if I'm not mistaken, the area, the back entrance of the cafeteria. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So what are we trying to do there? Because I don't even remember talking about that specific area, other than trying to locate the utilities.
So,
What's the plan here?
so the plan here is, if you're looking at that, plan, right where it says Lincoln County High School, just above the word school, there should be two modular sheds there. Just to the right of those sheds, that's where our addition will go. That's gonna be the new addition for the electrical switchgear. And then just to the right of that, we're expanding the existing kitchen dock. So we've asked them to survey that entire area, so that way we can establish grades, because right now it's all kind of gravel and kind of rough. So we're gonna pave all of that, not to mention the addition for the new switchgear. We're also gonna set an emergency generator. So we'll need a pad for that as well. And obviously, as we're expanding the dock, we'll certainly develop a better parking area and dock area for deliveries that will be able to work with the dock a little bit better. So that's what we established as our expense for their survey.
Was all of this originally part of the package one for safety?
Another addition to the lunchroom was something.
I think he presented when we went over that information.
Yeah, Mr. Stoops, what was your question again?
Well, was it part of the original bid package one for phase two? Because I don't ever remember discussing it.
The completed, the mostly completed work? No. This is a new set of projects.
You talked about it with some, maybe, when we talked about classrooms or something, it wasn't set aside, it was.
Yes,
Within-
so the phase two project is continuation of what we're trying to get closed out now. I'm sorry, there's a lot of ones and twos phases. So bid package one is where we went in and renovated the restrooms, corridors. Bid package two was your ball fields, field house. Once we close those out and get those done, we're gonna start phase two. Bid package one of phase two is this electrical room addition. Bid package two of phase two will be following back up and building upon the original renovations inside the high school, where we're gonna be renovating classrooms, science department, math department, those types of things. And this electrical work allows us to have the infrastructure for that future renovation, and also addresses the needs that, again, the existing electrical infrastructure is 50 years old and it's past its useful life. It's fine now, but it could die tomorrow, it could die in 2 years. Now's the time to go ahead and replace it and get a new system established, which is what we're doing here.
Any other questions?
Okay. Do you have any other questions about anything else, or?
Thanks for keeping it straight.
Sure.
There is, you're right, there is a lot of ones and twos.
I like it.
especially
Yeah.
Because you always hear BG one, so it's easy to confuse them.
And I think it was maybe touched upon like when, after we did the walkthrough with everyone, we kind of talked about some of that. But,
And I've been in touch with Brad Smith as well. I did peek in at the high school, your wood floor in the gym is going well. Contractors are working through that. We've been able to test it much better. I think everyone will be pleased, and that he has been on top of it. Brad, sort of certainly observed the results before he left. I witnessed the results this afternoon. I'm pleased with them. Brad's pleased with them. So I think we will have resolution to that hopefully by the end of the month.
So what about coach?
I'm sure your coach is probably satisfied with it too.
Yeah, last I heard Brad.
I haven't heard him mention, but I certainly know the AD has. They've removed about 100% of the boards. Anchoring is about 80%. Excuse me. Floor patch is about 10. So once they get the anchoring finished, they'll patch all the boards back in. They'll sand and refinish the floor.
I think they poured the wall that connects the front to the auditorium.
Yes, they've got sidewalks poured, a section of them, yes, out front, the additional parking out front.
How's that whole project coming along? What we looking like on the timeline there?
Well, you had to ask that. So, if you recall, we are behind schedule for the bid package 2 work. And we sort of put the contractor on notice that they had till July 6th. It was yesterday. Site supervisor told me today he's probably another 2 weeks. So, something, I guess we don't need to get into it here tonight, but it is something that we need to digest first thing tomorrow morning. I'll call the office manager and ask them what's going on. It's down to electrical and plumbing issues. Getting an electrician who is behind schedule. Once they get finished, the plumbing contractor will come back in and finish up. Excuse me. And like I said, the site supervisor said, roughly 2 weeks.
Now, with the being behind on bid package 2, which is most of the field house and that area of plumbing and electrical concerns are, I'm assuming, not the same people that are working on the parking lot, because we're not putting toilets in the parking lot. So,
Same contractor, different subcontractors.
Right.
Yes, in fact, the site supervisor told me that there would be a chance this will be done on or near the time the field house work would be done. So they're moving well up there.
not so well.
They didn't meet their ultimatum
Right.
at the.
And the index of the parking lot was what? The front parking lot?
In date,
Yeah.
I don't.
Do we all roll it in?
I don't have that, but we've got it established, and I can certainly
It's okay.
confirm that.
It's fine.
I like the ideas of the generator.
Mhm.
Was that you or Brad?
I'm sorry,
Was that your idea or Brad's?
I'll give Brad more credit. I concur.
I'm sure we think we
Yes.
know that.
Yeah, you've got,
If you're watching Brad,
yes, you've got a lot of vitals that you gotta keep alive over there, life safety, your kitchen cooler, freezer, those sort of things, so, yeah, it's a good investment.
I think so. Much as like, well, maybe you want to walk so
I
much.
got one in my home, I know what to do with those.
Any other questions? Thank you so much. 4B, early childhood annual report, Kim.
I have a copy of the full report. We have a copy of the condensed version. We'll post that on our district's website. But I'm just gonna go over this one page, if you all are okay with that, because it's really a
Oh,
summary
yes.
of the PowerPoint. So, if you look at the first one, we met our program goal of working through an analysis of a team approach to increase that by 50%. The way we met that goal was we started having monthly meetings with the education manager staff. We did not meet our first objective for our child goals. Our goal was to be at 90% for all children to be at or above the expected developmental age in all domains on our teaching strategies goal. We did not meet our goal also for that 50% increase in math. We did meet it for literacy. And whenever we started looking at the data and analyzing it, we noticed that there was discrepancies with teacher inputting that information into teaching strategies. So we are going to provide training next year at the very beginning of the year to try and help with that, because they didn't give some of the kiddos enough credit for what they are able to do. So we feel like that data is a little skewed. We met our goal for 13 of our 14 classrooms have an average score of 5 across all domains in class. And we also met our goal of 5 across areas. This would be for early and echoes and enters, and all of those classrooms have 5 or above. And then our daily average attendance, we did not meet this goal in either our early program or our early head start program. We were at 82% and 89%, and our goal was 90%. So we were close in preschool. Early, we had lots of illnesses. It just kept circling back around for us, even with all of the sanitizing and everything. We really struggled to keep our kiddos well this year. And as far as our family engagement goals, we met all of those goals. So we met our engagement in program activities in one way or the other. All of our families were engaged in a program activity. We were at 85% for parents supporting their child's regular attendance. So we met that goal because it was 85% voting. And then we met a goal for our parents or his families participating in our children's transitions. We were at 93% for our early program and 100% for our preschool.
Good job.
So you know I can't let you leave without asking a question.
Okay.
It's kind of two-pronged. For the goals that we did not meet, what do you think is your largest stumbling block? And what can we do to help you get past it?
So that was kind of what I had already kind of reiterated. Our teachers a lot of them are new and they haven't had formal training in teaching strategies goal. So we're doing that at the beginning of the year. And another way that we're going to increase that team approach is we're going to look at those teaching strategies goals. So that is our checkpoint 3 times a year. It's just kind of like our formative assessment, kind of like iReady for us. What we do is we analyze the data, we talk to the teachers, and we've been doing that as a whole group. We're going to kind of break that apart. So our TLCs have been pretty much whole group kind of analyzing the data. We're going to do individual classroom to where they really are getting into that information to kind of know how to meet that child's need and how to individualize. So that's
So you have the tools you need, you don't need anything extra.
Any other questions? 4C, early childhood tentative training plans.
So the early childhood program is requesting approval for our tentative training plans for our staff, for our parents, and for the policy council and board. Policy council and board trainings, those really are about the same. There's really not very much change with that. Parents is also very similar. We're still using the same curriculum as one. For our staff, again, I said we were going to use teaching strategies, goal training, we're going to do that. Some of the stuff that we have to do our professional development on is pretty much the same because it's required every year. So we're doing that. We, in the past, looking at social emotional skills, we had used pyramid model. We've already completed all of that training. So now we're going to be doing a connected ops training, which is kind of an additional time into that piece. So.
Any questions? Thank you, Kim. Oh, you got one more. 4D, MOU with Maxim Healthcare.
So our early childhood program is seeking approval to enter into an MOU with Maximum Health to provide medical support for a potential early Head Start student. So one of our early students is medically fragile. Her private insurance is going to pay for her to have a one-on-one nurse. So this is the company that she already has that one-on-one nurse with. but where it's gonna be in the school setting as opposed to in the home setting, we haven't been reviewing the company is requesting us to enter into an agreement with. I sent it in to Mr. Chandler. And he's already looked at it, he's given us some feedback, I sent the feedback, to Maxim. The changes were made in yellow on the document that you all received. And some of the other things that people questioned us were, in the event that the nurse wasn't there, what was the plan? We're fully capable of providing the services we pay for, for appropriate public education. We'll have the health plan in place, we'll have all of the pieces in place that we wouldn't have for any other student. This is just because the child has that.
Thank you. Contract with school site for early childhood program, Julie.
The first one is the school site, a retired school psychologist that worked with us this past year. I'm looking to contract with her again, up to 65 days. Her daily wage stress company is $259.87, and we would use her up to 65 days.
Your funds,
I'm sorry?
paid for with your funds?
Yes, I'm sorry. It is, it's on the paper, but I didn't say it, yes.
You can hardly find, you can't hardly find people that.
We've got so many districts around us that don't have school psychologists, they're only working with diagnosticians. So we're very fortunate that we're gonna have 2 school psychologists and a school psychologist intern this year, as well as contracting with, this, municipal work to work with the early childhood. Very fortunate.
For F, Community Work Transition Program, MOA.
This is a program that we had last year, and we're looking to continue it. It provides opportunities, excuse me, in preparation for competitive integrated employment. This is for the high school age kids that are getting ready to be post-secondary. And they're just asking if we enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Commonwealth of Kentucky Education Labor Cabinet and Office of Voc Rehabilitation.
I think this is a good program. Of course, we talked about it last year too. Is there any way that you can provide us with some stats, like maybe, I don't know, quarterly or at least once a year, just to let us know how it's going? Because I really want to see kids like this have some success. And it's good when we do the program now because you're bringing it to us, but then it falls off the radar, we never hear about it. So
Sure.
just give us some success.
Absolutely. That's my favorite.
For G, contract for interpreters, Julie.
We often need interpreters in the school setting with, whether Spanish or American Sign Language. And we've in the past contracted with, Central Kentucky Interpreter Registry, and we're just looking to continue that again this year. And that is with IDEA funds.
Makes ARC a lot easier.
Oh, man. Absolutely does.
Have we ever considered getting somebody in our district to teach ASL to our staff? I mean, I know I'm not technically considered staff, but I've always wanted to learn something, but I think
The only problem we've run into, and this is in other districts, is that, it's not considered a foreign language, so kids can't get credit for it like they can for Spanish or other languages.
well, I mean, more for staff.
Oh, for staff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of the kids would probably.
Oh, they would love it, yeah. There's usually interest.
But what about for staff? Is that even a possibility? I don't know, but you got 2 or 3 people who really fit to it. And I'm sure we have staff in our district that have family members that need this, and they're probably a little bit further along than anyone else, so they would have a head start on it anyway, and we could utilize our own staff, if it's something that we could get in to train our
I'll
staff.
check into it.
I'll just add one thing to that. We have a driver
Mhm.
who knows sign language, whose son is deaf, that drives Sarah's bus to KSD every day and back. And she's not gonna be with us that much longer. She's gonna retire, and she'll be a loss. I mean,
Ask
that'll
her if she'd
really
be
be a
willing to come
loss.
back and teach.
Ask
her if she'd be willing to come back and teach.
I'm just begging her to stay long enough to, while I'm here right now. I'm just here at a time, buddy. I don't know if I can ask her how much. But yes, it is a huge asset.
I've had some interpreters on the ARC, the languages that, actually, a couple of years ago, I had one that was, it was a clipping, like a language, it's very, cheat sheet. It was very unique, but it's, I've had Hindi students, which is, Middle Eastern. So it's just interesting that the types of interpreters we're needing even in this area.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Jeff. MOU with, EKU upward bound too.
Yes, EKU is asking us to enter into this agreement with them, especially for students who might want to get some of the Spanish credits when they're participating in this program.
Any questions?
Have we stopped providing Spanish at high school?
No, because this would just be maybe, for example, if it didn't work out in their schedule there and they were going to upper down, that, they could get that credit.
Weren't some of our students having to get it during the summer? The Spanish.
I've gotten back and now it's
Back
pretty
in.
much we're ready to start like going to the next level.
I don't see anything in here that talks about cost. I'm assuming the student wouldn't pay nothing.
For United Service Corps MOU.
Just asking that the board approve this in case we did have a school that wanted to give person in the board to work. I'm not for sure if they'll have the funding to do that, so, with their allocation, so.
How many schools were participating this year?
Everybody.
Everybody?
We used to do, seem like,
When
like,
you
for that one,
pretty sure I'm gonna do too.
let's think of that one.
I think Craigwood was the only school that did.
I didn't hear what the question was. Question.
The Unite, like, kind of like the AmeriCorps workers.
Right, I mean, we had district-wide, I do not. I don't know.
Not for sure. I think most of the elementary stuff.
Any other questions? Okay, let's move on for J, 2026 KSBA policy updates.
Okay, so Colleen did, we finally received those, she did upload those, like 140 some pages. She did do a summary page there, so, I know some of you are having some trouble, and I think it's just what format it's in. So we will try to get those saved in a different format as a PDF and get those out to you. Were you able to open up their summary?
You could get a summary.
I didn't, I'm gonna tell it anyway.
Yeah, I saw the summary. Some of the summary is truncated though, so like when you read the line, you're like, okay, I see the change, but then you gotta go back and cross-reference it with the other one, because my other one's not working, it wasn't very helpful, but
We'll get those saved.
having the House bills and everything at the top before each policy is helpful. It's just trying to go back and forth between the two documents makes it difficult.
And then once you look at the policies, it'll be first read, and then second read will be, on the 16th. Then there will be the procedures that kind of go on. It won't be quite as many go on the policy.
The first read will be the 16th, right?
This is the
This
first
is
read. This is considered the first read. That's typically the way it works, unless you
Well, I
want to do it.
understand, but it's not really a read if
You can't read it.
if four of us can't read it.
I mean, we can make next.
Christine's the only one that can read it well right now.
You wanna move it?
Can we move first reading until after we get the documents, so we have a chance to peruse them through? I mean, I'm sure if KSBA is just putting in the basic stuff, there's nothing.
It's pretty much along along with the legislative changes, so we can make the first read on the 16th.
Second read, doesn't work, you need no problems. Everything will still be ready to go.
Okay, 4K old FFA trailer, Bruce.
Yes, the high school is asking that we surplus the old mobile unit that is outside the greenhouses there. It's no longer being used, so just asking the board to, I mean, I think it's been flooded, there's been repairs done on it, it's just beyond repair now, so we would like to dispose of that.
Any questions? For L Surplus Highland Elementary,
Okay, so with the consolidation of that, we're asking the board what they're wanting to do with Highland Elementary. If you want to surplus it, and then, if so, how will you want to either seal bid, auction, or a direct sale? I think there are three ways that the board has to, surplus property out. So we've already had an issue with some up there, so
Breaking the fence, right? Or just one?
I'm only aware of one.
Okay. I couldn't remember, it may have been right on back, had gone back and read it,
Well, we definitely don't want to repeat the Kings now.
No,
no.
that would be my recommendation.
The other one was, the first one was a fire alarm.
on fire alarm.
Yeah.
It was a fire alarm malfunction, they found no proof that anybody pulled any of them or anything.
In there,
I can't think of either, the second thing that kind of, but that's what it was, yeah.
where it was transitional,
Does that affect our ability?
there, well, or did we left it it was transitional. So there's some parameters there about how we sell it, right, as far as like.
If you have sealed bids, auction.
Well, but I mean, like
private sale.
the value for, like you have to get essentially close to market value.
Well, also the recommendation is that you all give us permission to, because it will have to be approved.
And it's supposed to sell for like whatever, like the appraiser says is the fair value, but if you take sealed bids and none of the sealed bids get near that, you can take your highest bid and basically ask KDE, is it okay if we sell it for this? And they can approve it for a lower sale.
It's basically what you did with the Somerset
Yeah.
property. You didn't get the appraised value, you took the highest.
I think what Tyler was alluding to was whether or not being in transitional affects our capabilities. Is that right?
Well, that's what I want.
He does like if you were gonna do work.
Well, and I know, I would think the pool of interest on it will be fairly small, so I don't know, if there's an organization out there who's interested, who wants it, but, doesn't need a certain amount, but we can get approval to sell it if they're the top bid. But,
Yeah, like you're gonna get, like we are an appraiser, and we'll probably use the one that has been used for the last several projects. And so you'll know that value if you choose to do still bid. If you get that, good, if not, like she said, you went with the highest value for the Somerset Street.
As long as KDE
Yes, they that's pretty good.
so we got two things that'll be on the agenda at the regular meeting to approve, to get an appraisal.
Right, it's gonna be,
And
to do.
then one is how you want to sell
Well,
it. Y'all have a preference?
well, I think closed session doesn't actually have to happen until after
No.
it's coming in.
When the sale is when you go into executive session.
CLP.
sealed bids.
I don't know if that option.
I think sealed bids is the best way, because then
Everybody in agreement on that?
well, and if I'm correct, we can do some bids, and then if it's not, we
Yeah, we don't
can
have to
change
do
the avenue of sale. I think we said that last time, we still bids were, we thought would be our best option on that.
if it isn't through auction, doesn't it, you correct me if I'm wrong, like whatever the highest bid, that's what it sells for, and you can't say no?
If
Or
you
can
do an
we?
absolute.
Okay. Yeah, because there's fees involved, and if we private sale it, there's fees involved, because we'd have to have a realtor.
Well, it's
But
a
most
very unique
options,
property.
other than absolute, like Bruce was saying, you can set a minimum, like say you start the bidding at, $1,000.
Oh, okay.
But we could say, we will not accept less than 190. So if the highest bid ends up being 120, we can reject the highest bid, but we still have to pay the fees.
Okay, okay, that's still pricey.
Any other
Maybe.
discussion? All right, 4M, emergency operations plan, Jeff. Is that class?
We sent the annual approval of Lincoln County Schools Emergency Operations Plan as required by KRS 158.163, who met on June 18th, reviewed with all first responders, administrators, and office staff. And they have the yearly updates, not a lot of significant changes within the plan. Our reunification plan, sort of most of the buckets was. Been working on, we're gonna have some significant changes to get. Mainly where our first option is. To quit cooking off on the side.
Any comments or questions? 4N, increase the full-time sub-driver pay, Jeff.
Okay, so this one is, we have 2 full-time sub positions that's been around for a while. It's been a revolving door, because it's a very demanding job. You're expecting to know multiple routes, maybe one time you can be placed on a route, that maybe you haven't done. We try to consider with those 2 drivers, when we actually had to at the same time, which one is driven what. Larry does a great job of assigning routes to subs based on their experience. Sometimes you do get somebody on when they haven't driven, but we just take our time, we get there a little late, we get there a little late. I mean, that's what's important. But, to keep these routes filled or closer to filled year round, I'm asking that we increase the pay for those drivers by $2 an hour. And it would just be across the board. It's not per years of service. In every instance, it would just be $2. So it's $21.60 a year would be the cost. So a total, for the 2 of a little $4,320. If you approve.
You can ask any sub-driver, Southern's the hardest.
Yeah.
I mean, they gotta figure out.
Yes.
Southern is
How many
the hardest.
different routes do we have? And we've got 50.
Well, yeah, that's a lot.
We've got 43 regular routes, 7 special needs routes, and sometimes we call at 5 o'clock in the morning and, oh yeah, we told you you were driving this, but now we need you to drive this. And, you know, we got a routing sheet, come in and we'll go over it, but that doesn't mean that you've actually, you know, been on that road before. We are very fortunate, we have one fellow who's done it for multiple years. We're also fortunate, that Brad Petrie helps us out a lot and knows just about every route in the district. But we would like to fill another position, and it's been vacant for a while.
I don't know, you may not be able to answer me right now, but can we add that, KSD driver into this $2 on the hour pay raise?
Oh, that's up to you all. That's, I mean, she is, it means so much, and it's so reassuring to those parents that, you know, when they come out, bring their kids to the bus, how easily they communicate with that driver. And, you know who it is.
I know.
Yeah.
And when she retires, and we got to have somebody else on there, the district, if they don't have sign language, the district needs to train them.
I feel I've called them to,
Well,
how we address that when that time comes.
how is that bus driver gonna handle emergency if she can't communicate with those students?
Correct.
Now, is the KSD driver, I know this is sort of off topic, but are they listed differently on the pay schedule, or are they
No.
just, then that would, which I don't have a problem with adding $2 in there, but if we're gonna do that, it needs to be added as
It would
a
have to be,
separate
yes.
position,
Sure.
and it needs to, in order to qualify for the extra $2.
Same way with this job description, it'll have to be updated.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's different. It's a different
But-
position now.
But we're gonna be in trouble if we list that you must have sign language, because then she's gonna
Right.
retire and you ain't got no bus driver.
Right.
And-
That's what I'm saying, that's a
Yeah,
different,
You
that's
think about
different
that.
conversation for a different day. We're
Yes,
gonna go that far
but
down
let's
that
go
road.
ahead and do the
Yeah.
2 hour up.
But I agree, it does.
I would just list it as to receive the $2 extra an hour pay, you must have ASL certification. If you don't have it, then you just come in as.
Good as that. Look, because the potential is, you wouldn't have to have a driver that has that. You gotta monitor them. The monitor could be, but one or the other, you know, we're gonna need that.
It's somebody gotta go talk to you.
Yeah, correct.
And if I can just chime in on that, ASL certification is very difficult to get. If it's not just, a couple of classes or anything like that, I mean, it's a four-year degree, to get certified. And it's very difficult, for someone who doesn't get certified to be able to fluently sign unless it is someone who has a child who's deaf or,
Right.
you know, a family
That just
member.
knows their
Right.
exposure.
So that's gonna be one of the drawbacks that you're gonna find, with those criteria that you're setting for those
That's
people.
good input, because I
Thank you for, yeah.
didn't realize that that was such a.
No, I didn't hear. I didn't know what it took to get
We
it.
just
I just,
don't-
you know, I do know that's something we're gonna have to address when this person decides to retire. Yeah, I do
You're
know
already
something.
there to stay.
Certification or not, it's confident, you know.
Just need
that-
really
Yeah,
nice about it.
Yeah.
Not certified music.
Julie, is there, any type of competency test?
Yes, there is. The Kentucky School for the Deaf does it, and it's called a SLIPI, and they, a deaf individual interviews the person trying to get accredited with it, and then they rate them on a scale of their proficiency in that.
How difficult is it to achieve success in that? Whatever level of the number on that scale, what, like, is it 1 through 10, and 6 is considered successful, 8 is considered successful?
Well, it starts out with, you know, little to no knowledge. You know, if you have a young child that's just learning, and it goes up to, I can't remember how many levels it has, but to be truly proficient enough for emergencies or anything like that, it would be pretty high on that hierarchy. I've been signing since, well, this is year 30 for me. I'm not proficient. I would not, you know, I can communicate, but in emergency situations when things are heightened or things like that, you don't want somebody not knowing their business and making sure that kids are safe.
Sounds like we need to get Julie and come up with.
Well,
I thought you were gonna say, put me on the bus. I'll come up with a plan with you.
That's where I'm going next.
Well, I mean, that certainly ties into maybe trying to get some sort of ASL teaching with our staff, at least to a core group, that way you get the support you need and whoever else needs.
I had a lot of conversations, as all the directors do, with their peers in other districts, as far as, you know, how do you all resolve this, and how do you address? That's not a conversation I've had, but I do need to be having with surrounding districts, because, you know, that's the situation that they're all in. And I'm not for sure, I've had the luxury that I inherited this person when I took this position, and it's already here that knew how to do this. So that is something that, yeah, I need to be working on, thinking about what we're gonna do next.
You factor in the amount of students who are saying that do not speak any English. You know, and then you're putting them on a bus with someone who, you know, can't communicate about this, and then you think about special transportation bus drivers. You know, God bless them for what they do. It
The
speaks to
monitors,
the
the monitors
difficulty of
are the saving grace, the fact that they do have somebody with them, and that's why we have to.
Sure.
Yeah, just-
Maybe we ought to try getting a stipend for those folks. You know, one or the other.
Oh, if they had this,
Yeah.
if you want to call it certification. Yeah. It's something we talked to Jamie about.
That's something we're.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you. For, SEDT contractors,
Madam Chair, before we go there, I want to circle back up to 4J. You may have noticed that there was a dyslexia policy and a writing policy. So those are two things that the district had to write. So Julie worked with Colleen and Chad also to come up with those two policies. So, because your KSBA policy said the district will develop these, so I want to point that out too. All right, so 4O, this is the contract with the Commonwealth of Kentucky. What it is, it's associated with the Summer Electronic Benefit Transfer Program to pay. So just entering into that contract.
any questions?
Mr. Bigelow cannot be with us.
4P, student handbook,
Also, Anthony has went through all the policies and procedures. He's updated. He also had Grant to review, and I think maybe asked, you know, some of the directors and staff if they had any input. So, so you're having some trouble with the issue that we have with the licensing on Word and Microsoft stuff. So we'll get those saved as PDFs and get those out to you so you'll be able to see.
Colleen's already done the policies and uploaded them for us.
I think she's watching because I.
Yeah, she's had to do that.
So I'm not saying anything bad about it because the handbook will be up our next.
okay.
Sorry about that.
Any questions? For QO athletic equipment, Russell?
Well, he's coming forward, we want to congratulate him.
Yes.
Thank you all.
We're gonna
Appreciate
put
it.
you in.
I appreciate it, yeah. Getting right in, my phone hadn't stopped. It's day 7 of my contract, yeah, day 7, so. Yeah, the athletic department is looking to surplus the old weight equipment in the football field house. You haven't been by there in a while. The new stuff is in, beautiful, great. But we don't have any use for the old stuff. Football team will take care of all the disassembling, advertising, all that stuff. So we're just looking to make sure we can surplus that equipment.
Is this the equipment you had during COVID?
This is the equipment we've had since 2003.
Because I got more complaints as a board member from Emily Estes about the weightlifted equipment and all the sanitizing you were doing.
Yeah.
And using rusty weightlifted equipment.
They're only rustier now.
I'm sure they are, but when you have to sanitize them between each use.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, look at my hands, do you know what that is?
Yeah, the boys they still get
They
all,
still do.
you just rub up against them and get
Yeah, I'm
roasted.
sure it needs to be replaced. She informed me several times
Yeah.
5 years ago it needed to be replaced.
Any other questions? For our assistant superintendent position, Philip,
So I put this on the agenda because in the board group text, one of the board members, Gloria, had mentioned that we should have a discussion on whether or not we should maintain the assistant superintendent position or not. So I wanted to get it on there so we could open it up to discussion and see what everybody thinks. I guess we'll start off with the obvious is if we decide not to keep it, then a lot of our policies that we were talking about for first readings will probably gonna have to be adjusted again to reflect that as well as duties and everything else. But Lori, I'll let you start.
Well, I'll start by apologizing. I had just got out of a group text with South Lincoln Alliance. We group text and vote and everything on text. And I thought, well, we need to discuss this position. It's empty. One of my things is I hear from everybody how many too many people we have at central office. And I thought, well, this is a position we can do away with at central office. And then it's probably around $120,000 savings. Of course, they're not here to tell me for sure how much savings it is. And several people just told me I needed to look into eliminate the position at central office. And I thought since this position has nobody in it, it is an opportunity.
okay, now Bruce gave us some information, would you go over that again?
Which, I had heard some chatter back, months ago. So I asked all the surrounding districts that touch us. And I think I shared this with you all. Boyle County did not reply, Somerset nor Science Hill. But in all the surrounding districts, we have 9 folks in like a certified or degree type position. This did not look at like classified folks, secretarial, those type things. Garrett County also has 9. Casey has 8. Danville has 11. Pulaski has 7, and Rockcastle has 9. And when I was named superintendent, well, over 3 years ago, when I started looking, because we had a position, I was seeing that a common thing across, as an assistant. So now everybody has an assistant in the surroundings except Rockcastle. She does not. And I think Pulaski has 2 assistant superintendents.
What's the student enrollment in those districts?
That was also on that chart.
I can give a chart.
Okay,
I went back to look for it today and could not find it, but I know I have seen this. I know I saw it because I looked through it. But when I looked through my email, for some reason I could not.
I can find it. All right, so the number I'm gonna give you is K-12. On the last day, we ended with 2,963. Garrett County has 2,324. Casey has 2011. Danville has 1,660. Pulaski has 7,153. And Rockcastle has 2,613. So other than Pulaski, we're probably the next largest district.
It's from June 16th. I did find it right before the meeting, so I was looking for it. It's from June 16th.
I guess my question is, who would take on the responsibility, and how would you assign the duties that are being fulfilled by this system?
Well, as you know, I think and the directors that are here can attest to it. I think we went through about every review that PD has. So I think we have everything, and we shared those reports. You know, most every federal program, and this is what this individual basically, takes care of currently in the position. And we have all of those federal programs pretty much where they need to be. They were not there. So we've had other reviews, and so I think we have things corrected and going. And I do not think that we are actually overstaffed in comparison to all these surrounding districts. And I mean, those federal programs are a lot, especially Title I. Title I is the largest one, and because it has also Part C, which is a migrant program.
Is there a way before we vote next week that you could provide us with like a division of duties of this is what this position does, and this is where they would have to go? So we could just see the impact. And I did ask Grant if I could ask that, because I said, I don't want to violate the oath of office when we discussed it.
So we would basically have,
Well,
we have some folks in the office that could not assume some of those responsibilities that are in, because, you have to have some supervision and instruction certification.
Right.
So I'm just trying to think, we only have about 3 or 4 folks currently that could assume all of that, so.
I'm just sitting here looking at this wall of past superintendents, and I've been attending board meetings pretty regularly since Bruce Johnson. 1996. And this is the first assistant superintendent that we've ever had. What did Mr. Rowe do? What did Ms. Hatter do?
I think they had, Mr. Rowe, I think, had the 2 chiefs, so he basically had 2 assistant superintendents. They were called chiefs because they made that 30% index.
Considering the fact that we've been putting a squeeze on all of our spending, we weren't able to give staff raises this year. I feel like that $120,000 might be able to better use.
I just think for so long as the district ran without an assistant superintendent, that I don't think it'd be necessarily hard to, spread those duties back out to where they were, or whoever was responsible for them before we had an assistant superintendent. But like I said, it would free up money in the district, whether it be used for, raises for teachers or, whatever can be done with the particular money. I think it would benefit the district.
And then remind the board, we have cut 2 directors since I've been here.
I think I just want to make a motion for us to eliminate the assistant superintendent position.
Do you all want to hear from the directors that are here?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'll go ahead and tell you, I absorbed one of those jobs of one that wasn't filled. And food service being added to my plate, unintended there. It's been a lot. I'll go ahead and tell you, transportation, safety, and food service, it's every minute of it. And the difference is, over the years, we've called things different things. And I'm not advocating for the assistant job or not, but it's just whatever you name it, whether it's chief of operations, chief of, before it's curriculum instruction. I mean, it's just whatever you want to call it. It's really the numbers game. And even when you look at surrounding districts, there's a component of that, I think, is legit when you compare similar sized district, how many you have, how many we have. But there's also parts of all of our jobs that it doesn't matter if there's a certain report you have to do. If you're entering it for 50 kids, that's just a number. Or if I'm entering 3,000, it still looks the same. Like if I do a mileage report at the end of the year, all of them that are done for transportation, in June, the number I put in makes no difference. The report has as many steps. You know what I'm saying? And then there's other things that it does matter how many kids that you're actually processing through. So there's not I don't think there's a one size fits. There's so much to it. I think it's hard to take in really what every job looks like. and
Because I
each
was
position
back,
looks like.
Ms. Hatter also had a chief operations and a chief academic person. Dr. Wallace had an assistant superintendent, that was Ms. Hatter. Can you remember, Mr. Godby, if he had any? And I think Karen was considered assistant under Larry as well. You may,
I was thinking Pam Hart she wasn't called assistant, but it was essentially the same.
She pretty much functioned as one.
Yeah, she functioned. And she had that curriculum instruction mind.
She did.
That Diana had as well.
The duties of the assistant superintendent currently, do you know where those duties would go? Like whose plate, as you could say, they fall on, to know how it would affect their workload as well? Or if it would create, it'd be like overwhelming if another duty was put onto somebody else?
it would be hard for a person to assume all of those and just trying to think, what somehow they have their hands full, like Jeff has said, like Julie has all the special ed and 504s and, Chad, with all the curriculum and assessment and accountability and then we have some folks that cannot accept some of those because they don't have the certification for it.
Well, I do know, having worked implementing a federal program, if you've got a federal grant, you don't mess with that. It's got to be somebody that can really focus on, Kim can tell you, focus on those requirements because they're so stringent and looked at on a regular basis. So
It's millions of dollars that we receive. Title I is probably, other than SEEK and those things, is probably one of our largest grants that we receive.
Who did the duties that the assistant superintendent did before we had the assistant superintendent?
I think they were trying to divide.
It was the chief.
I think the chief, which was, about naming people,
well, they had one that's pretty much focused on academics and one on operations, and then they had people under them that helped implement them. I just think that we've already, the position was posted, and we've got people that have applied for it, and we're kind of late doing this.
We're kind of late doing this because the job was posted, even though it was requested that we have this conversation.
But I asked for feedback and I only received feedback from one individual.
Right, because this board has shown that we don't want to conduct work business through email individually. It needs to be a discussion because there has been a lot of things that have been said here tonight that would not have been said about emailing you and telling you what we wanted with little to no information.
Information can be shared with me individually.
Well, no, but like the input from Mr. Krager letting us know that adding another big responsibility onto a position can be,
And like I said, I don't want to be like I'm beating the drum for it. I just think y'all need to hear from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it does look different in every department. And, when we've got fewer kids and we do have declining enrollment, that's a real thing. There are parts of my job that looks different when I don't have as many kids that I'm responsible for. But then there's other parts that it doesn't matter if we're a district of 1,000. I'd still have to do the same. There's still those same things that have to be done. So you can't just look at it as fewer kids, totally less work, because it's not in all instances. So it's kind of complicated. You have to get down in the weeds to every single thing, I guess, with what the responsibilities of that job would be too. But most of it wouldn't look any different because those reports, I guess, the federal programs are going to be what they are.
Is there a way for you to let us know where the duties would lie? I mean, not like particular person, but as in how.
I think that, if you do have a position, which I hope we do not, because I don't think we are, top heavy in our directors, as you can see what other surrounding districts have. And we are, the next largest. So those duties would have to be assigned out to folks who can do those.
Can you do any of it?
Do some of those.
Huh?
I've done some of those.
I mean, I assume that as a superintendent, you're qualified to do the assistant superintendent's job.
Oh, we wouldn't need that,
You wouldn't need that.
the assistant job.
That's fair.
I mean,
So there's a motion on the
if
floor.
you, I'm not sure I'm following what you're saying.
I mean, she asked you if you could do the duties, because you're talking about there weren't many people that could. My comment was, I assumed that as a superintendent.
I can do some of the programs, yeah, because I've done some of them in the past.
I think my big concern about doing away with it would be, I think it's good to have a position where the majority of the focus is instruction and curriculum. And so if we lose that, and even if Bruce absorbs a big part of that, where do you have someone, of course, we have wonderful principals, but at central office who's the majority of their focus is curriculum and instruction? That would be a concern of mine. And of course, I know we're comparing all this to Diana, who just seem to have such a wide breadth of knowledge. I have no problem having the position, and I also understand the concern about maybe consolidating. I understand that too. But I think it would be good to know what the division of duties would look like and where those would go.
Like even maybe what the other directors that aren't here tonight, what their input would be, because my assumption is if this job is done away with, all the directors are gonna be in some way, gonna be absorbing different parts of her job in some aspect. To maybe see what they all have input, so that we know that they're.
Well, I think the problem, when is the job posed? The job posting closed?
It's probably close to being, Jean's on vacation, so I don't know if she's just not taking it down. Have to be posted for 15 days, and we're close to that and not over it.
But he wouldn't have to hire.
No.
Actively,
And we have received several applicants for it.
I guess if there's a way that any hiring, I don't know if we can even have anything to do with that, but hiring can be held off on that until we can hear from the other directors that, if we did abolish this, that, how it would affect their job duties.
I'm just kind of looking down through. I think we would have about, just quickly glancing, about 3 or 4 folks that could, because like I said, some don't have certification for it.
But then would they be able to, do what they're already assigned to do?
Testing things.
Chad, I put you on the spot. If you were given Title I on top of what you're already doing. Could you
Well-
do it effectively?
I mean, yeah, it's,
What did you say?
I honestly don't know what all is involved with federal programs, because you got Title I, II, 4, 5, Part A, Part C. So you have a lot of federal programs there. I know the budget's huge. I know Diana worked on that the last 2 weeks before she left. Making sure every school gets their allocated amount and it has to be spent, and then you have parent and family engagement things that every school has to do every year, and that has to be monitored and sent in. And I know that from the principal side too. doing, open houses, parent, teacher conferences, sign-in sheets, all these things, and it has to be monitored, and then, you know, in order to get federal funds, we have to prove that we're doing all these things.
Do you think there'd be a learning curve for you to take on?
Oh, yeah,
One of them.
I mean, for sure,
I think there's gonna be a learning curve for anybody.
Yeah.
Learning a job.
Let's see, she also has site-based too.
yeah, site-based, ESS, virtual, PD, migrant, 21st century. That's all I can think of right now.
Which programs are you managing, Bruce? Which programs are you managing?
She had,
Yes, thank you. You let me ask the question. Which programs were you managing?
Oh, in the past,
I'm talking about while Diana was managing those programs, what programs were you managing? I'm assuming
Current
it's.
as superintendent,
Yeah.
you're basically over the entire district.
Right.
I mean, I did not have a program that I was considered the supervisor of. I mean, most superintendents do not have that.
You have federal program, correct? You've been there, the federal program, you have, as a superintendent, typically you
I've
have,
had migrant, I've had Title I, I've had Title II.
but I'm saying typically there's a federal program director.
Yes.
and that, you know, that oversees all.
I mean, basically what went to, you know, that position was created there, so, you know, it's, but, I mean, most superintendents don't supervise programs. I mean, you're supervising, you're basically supervising every program, if you will.
Lauren, are you still wanting to entertain your motion?
Yes.
We've set the agenda, we would need to ask, I think.
We are authorized to make a motion, a second, and a vote at any time during any regular meeting. The only time you can't do that is this special call.
Yeah, I know it for the regular meeting, I just didn't know if we had to do anything where the agenda had been set.
No, just the motion is made. If there's a second, then we can go to a vote. If there's not a second, then the motion dies. Because the only difference.
Do you want to verify that? First.
just because,
Well, the question was asked if there's a way to ensure that there would be no hiring
yeah,
until this conversation was completed,
that's the next meeting, yeah.
and there was nothing.
I mean, we don't do anything, and that's,
You can wait till the next meeting.
we can wait till the 16th.
Would you be okay with that, Lori, to hear from the other?
Well, yeah, guarantee it, nothing gets hired in between now and then.
Okay, any other comments, any other questions? Let's move on to facility planning, Philip.
All right. The facility planning, so we had discussed some of this when the discussion with Pleasant Highland was there, and a lot of the comments from the public more or less came to the point of, Lincoln County has a reputation of kind of letting our facilities go until it's too late and then not doing anything. Of course, Brad made the comments about some of the things that we've been doing. I think he called it his summer work program, where he works with Leanne, gets some money, small amounts of money, and makes small projects. But we're at a point now where we have some bonding power, we have the capability, and Brad has provided us with this 3-page list of things throughout the district that we would like to, that he eventually wants to get completed with all of it. Well, instead of nickel and diming all this, I'd like to have the conversation of, let's get a package together of things that we want to accomplish and get it done. Instead of, and I don't know what kind of money he's working with, but it can't be very much. Instead of him doing $10,000 a summer and getting a couple of very small projects done, let's actually make some improvements.
I guess, I agree to like some of the long-term things like the HVAC. And I know he's currently working on stuff at the playgrounds at some of the schools that need to be replaced. It'd be nice to be able to just give the money to do it and have it done instead of just continue to talk.
So, Mr. Clark, I hope you're ready for a shotgun. Here comes the shotgun. Is it possible for us to have multiple, like say, for example, we want to replace the HVAC in every school at once? Now, that might be a little bit drastic, I'm just using it as an example. Can we get a single project together that would allow us to coordinate that and do it all at once? Adding in some of these other things that are on this list and do a bonding procedure in which we bond for the project all at once and then scale it out. So in other words, we want to get all these things done at these schools. They don't all have to be done in the next 3 months, once we get started. But can we lay out this long-term plan, get Clock Culture and Santa Clara or whoever the board decides to use as their architect to make this plan, do the bonding for it, get the money ready, and actually move forward with an actual no-joke timeline and get these things accomplished? Or do we have to separate it out?
Sorry.
Sorry.
So basically, you can do projects concurrently in the scenario that you're looking for. You can certainly do it under one bond sale. To try and do them under one contractor, I would recommend no. You're land-wise, you're a big county, you're spread out. It just wouldn't make sense for a contractor. They would be spread too thin. That said, you can certainly select the firm, get the firm initiated and moving and design all 5 projects, let's say. You could bid them at the same time, or maybe stagger them just a little bit. From a bidding climate standpoint, that would probably be more beneficial to the district. But then, excuse me, they could be constructed, concurrently, more or less. Obviously, you get that little bit of staggering from the bidding process, but yeah, you could, absolutely.
It wouldn't be too complex to manage more than 1 or 2 subcontractors, even possibly working on the same exact job, just at a different site.
One of my partners is managing Madison County, and I think we're doing 10 schools at one time while we're building a new elementary. It was broken out into, I think, I'm not familiar with the job because I'm not running it, but I believe they converted several schools to geothermal. So we did an early bid package where we had contractors go out and do the geothermal well fields. While that was going on, we were doing the, the drawings for the renovation. You gotta take out ceilings, lights, replace equipment, etc. We were doing those drawings, and as the well field construction was going on, we started bidding the renovation jobs. And we've got several of those under construction. I think we got one going out to bid this week maybe, and I think 1 or 2 more on the boards. So the answer is yes, you can certainly do what you're proposing.
Are there timeline restrictions based on when the bid must go out in order to consider everything under one project? See, what I'm thinking is if we don't have to pay this bond 5, 6, 7 different times and pay for 6.
You want one bond sale to
Right.
save money. Yeah,
Yes.
you can do that.
Okay.
No time frame. You can sell bonds before and estimate it. I don't see it happen very often because you overestimate, then you've got that money tied up. Or you can sell bonds after the bid, depending on your financial situation. Some districts have enough cash that they can float certain portions of work until other phases may be bid and then do a single bond sale at that point. It all just comes down to the district's condition from a finance standpoint. And again, ultimately what we're trying to achieve. But I understand your point. A bond sale costs money. So if you're going to sell bonds multiple times and you're going to pay all those fees numerous times, it is advantageous to do a single bond sale.
You had mentioned the district possibly floating some of it until you do the bond sale, and essentially paying yourself back. At what timeline would that become a realistic possibility in which the district would have to float out of general funding before the bond sale? Because what I don't want to do is put general funding in a bond. But I want to make sure that all of our schools get the facility upgrades that they need.
Well, certainly with what you're talking about, that, if we're talking HVAC replacement across numerous facilities, that's a big job.
Well, that's not the only thing, that was just
Sure,
probably the
sure.
largest.
I do them all the time where the thing is you want to get under construction as soon as possible. So you got to get the drawings out, get it bid, get under construction, but yet financing and bond sale, you don't know what you need to sell bonds for, so you have bids.
Mhm.
So obviously, you want to sell bonds typically after the bid. What we'll do is we'll do an interim contract. What that does is the district will sign a contract with the contractor. It's called, we'll put an interim contract cover page to the standard KD owner contractor agreement. It basically stipulates, usually do it like a lump sum. What that does is it gives commitment to the contractor that you're serious, you're gonna do the work. It gives the contractor funds up front so they can get their performance and payment bond. That costs them money. Allows them to mobilize. That costs money. Allows them to get shop drawings and submittals to our office for review. All of that costs money. If you wait for your bond sale, you may have 2 weeks, you may have 4 weeks where you have nothing going on. So if the district can afford to float 200, 300, and again, the dollar amount depends on what we're doing here. That interim contract dollar amount lets the contractor go ahead, like I said, get his performance and payment bond, get his insurance set up, start reaching out to manufacturers to get shop drawings and submittals to our office, and it just keeps the process moving. That's typically, I've done that in the past numerous times. Works out just fine. Once you have your bond sale, you take those proceeds, you pay your general fund back.
Another question, how does that, like the current approved facility plan, you have to go based on the priorities, correct?
Excuse me, no, as long as it's on the facility plan, you're fine from a priority standpoint.
So you can take the 2s or 3s above the 1.
It's a buffet at this point, you do what you want, pretty much. And it's part of the House Bill 678.
Is the board
The key is, it's gotta be on there.
Is the board interested in moving forward with gathering an actual plan like this and looking at spending some money on our facilities and improving everything? We want to have this conversation? I do. Brad, if you're watching, get ready for the next meeting, buddy.
Now, there are evidently some things here that are small items that could be done locally.
Yeah.
We use local business. You're talking about the big things.
Yeah, well, I think this is where we're gonna rely on the expertise of Brad and people like Mr. Clark here who can tell us, yes, we wanna get this thing done, but we don't need to include this in our project. We can do that locally. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but in order to do these big projects and to be approved through KDE, the contractors have to have this certain little piece of paper that costs like $150,000 that says they can work on school. Says they're qualified to build school facilities or whatever, whereas if we do it locally, they don't have to go through that process. That's what Mr., what's his name did. He had mentioned that there's a certain certification that contractors have to have in order to work on school facilities. Am I ringing a bell?
Doesn't sound, basically,
We'll circle back.
as you initiate a construction project, anything that requires or you start a BG1 for, that triggers KDE. There's certain requirements. Number one, you gotta have me. You gotta have a registered architect to do the project. So you gotta pay our fees. Then you gotta go through the bidding process. Brad and I have talked about this as far as the playground issues are concerned. We'd love to do the work, but we also understand that's a small job, it's a specialty job. That's something y'all can bite off on your own and hire local contractors to do. You can reach out to the playground vendors for the equipment. You can purchase that directly. You avoid the KDE process. You avoid paying us. So you'll save money, you'll save time. Those types of projects where it's not quite a one-stop shop, but pretty close to that, that's where we would recommend you all
And that's
go.
where we would rely on Brad and the park.
Yes,
to
sir.
make those decisions.
Certainly, we've got a good relationship with you guys. We'll certainly help and assist, guide you all through those types of
Brad's
processes.
given us a pretty good list, but I think if we talk to him, include him,
Yes.
then I think this list would
We could expand, yeah, if we
Well,
let them know how.
And that was
we
the
want
point
to
of
do
bringing
it.
it up tonight was to get us talking about, it, thinking about it, make sure the board has an appetite to go forward with it. That way,
Several of these things are taking place this summer. The middle
Yeah.
school, painting, the lights, and,
well,
Waynesburg painting, doing some new flooring. So some of these things are actually, will be coming off this list.
yeah, and they're small projects too. The difference is we're using general funding on those. So if it's a project that we can add into and use our bonding power to save our general funding for other programs that we need, like, possibly increasing $2 for our bus drivers and, just things like that are gonna be additional expenses coming out of our general fund. The pot of money matters.
And include that other grade, Smith, Leanne.
Yes, exactly. And I talked to Leanne and Brad both in email about this, and they were understanding what I was asking for, which is why Brad provided the list. But there's no point in having this conversation if you guys aren't interested in using some bonding power. You might got some good projects. The other part of this is, and Bruce, you kind of brought it up, but I kind of feel like we need to get the local facilities planning committee back together and move Waynesburg and Houstonville back to permanent now, so that we can use some of these funds on some of these projects to get those buildings improved. Whereas, so that we won't fall under restriction.
Yes, we're not limited on how much we can bond with them being set as transitional.
So that would just be an amendment to the facility plan. Brad didn't want us to do that.
Yeah,
I think
so I
they-
think he said if it was 1, we can do it on our own. 2, I don't remember, and 3, they actually had to reconvene 3 times or something.
If you do a finding, it's easier. If you do an amendment, you basically redo the plan.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
this would be
We'll have-
fine.
ADE will tell us what we have to do there, it's
Right.
amendment or finding.
But we need to move forward on doing that.
I think Brad can lead us on that.
Yeah,
Yes, if I can interject, yes, a finding, we gotta replace a section of the high school roof. I wanna get that on the facility plan. You can do a finding. You do have to gather the LPC together, but it's a fairly quick process. You can decide, I wanna replace the HVAC in 5 elementary schools and it's not on there. That gets into an amendment. The process drags out a little longer, a little more time consuming. It's not impossible, but those are the two methods for altering your facility.
either way it goes, we need to kind of get it started now, so if it is the longer version,
So we can get this conversation in the next meeting and figure out how we can expand our list and see what we need to add to the facilities plan, if there is a need to add it. And a lot of that stuff's already on there for a lot of the schools.
yeah.
But, and then go from there in both directions. 1 in the planning process and 2 in the facilities plan.
So we want to continue this discussion.
Yes. Yes, especially Brad and Leanne here.
Yeah.
2 of our main players in this conversation.
Okay. Any other comments? Do we have any public comments?
No.
You've been waiting.
No. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Jen, second, Tyler, vote, Gloria.
Yes.
Philip, Jen.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you all.